Hey guys, welcome to another Save the Stang video. So it's been a while since I've posted anything new. Honestly, with the weather and a lot of things happening in life, I haven't had an opportunity to really do much with the car other than crank it periodically and move around a little bit. But that's about to change. Thanks largely to my mom, who recently passed away just a few months ago. One of her wishes was to see the Mustang get back in good drivable shape, and so she left me a small inheritance to buy some parts, and so I did that. So we've got a bunch of parts that we're going to use on the car. So I thought I'd just kind of give y'all a run through of what we've got. So that we'll go ahead and flip over and make that happen. Okay, so here you see some of the parts that we've got here. We'll go through those in just a moment. There's also one up there, and then there's a couple of more things hanging up over there as well. So what do we have here? So first, a big one, we've got an American Auto Wire wiring system. This is actually a complete wire harness for the entire car. So we're going to be rewiring the entire vehicle from the front to the back, inside the cabin. This has everything that goes with that you need for that. So that was a big deal. And to kind of go with that, we've also got a new alternator to go on the car. Now this is not a stock replacement alternator. The biggest output I could find on a traditional 3-wire system that comes with these cars is a 55 amp alternator. This is a 140 amp alternator. This should give me all kinds of power to add things like air conditioning, decent stereo system, as well as like charging ports and things for cell phones and tablets. Anything electrical I'd ever want to do, power, if I ever wanted to power windows, all of that. This should have more than enough power to supply all that. So very excited at that. We've also got, I noticed the other day when I was cranking the car, that our fuel pump had a leak. And we talked before about trying to change the fuel pump when I was rebuilding the carburetor, and I couldn't get the fuel line that goes from the fuel pump to the carburetor off. It was frozen. So we've also got a new fuel line that goes from the fuel pump up to the carburetor. So got that covered. That's going to be there. Over here we have a new transmission pan and gasket. So we're going to put that on. Notice it's chrome, add a little bling to the car, make her look nicer. But at some point I'm going to be changing out the transmission fluid. Now, although it's all fresh in there because, well, all of it had drained out over the 22 years it sat in my dad's garage. But we're going to do that at some point. Back here behind that, you'll see shocks. We've actually had these for a little while. They're rear, for the rear of the car, gas shocks there. But also, if we go over there, you'll see hopefully those big boxes in front of the Stang. That's new leaf springs. So we've got new leaf springs for the rear, the new shocks. There's new shackles for the leaf springs in there, new U-bolts and all that. And I think the mounting brackets on the car are pretty good. I know at least one of them got replaced in the 80s because I broke it doing stupid stuff. Anyway, also here you'll notice we've got a new oil pump and pickup to go in the car. Notice the oil pressure doesn't, I mean, it gets oil pressure, wouldn't run the car without it, but it seems a little low to me. And the longer it runs, as the oil seems to thin out a little bit, the oil pressure drops a good bit, and I'm kind of concerned. So I got a new oil pump. Figured what the heck, better safe than sorry. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, so we got here some weather stripping, a few weather stripping components to go on the doors. That's just a very beginning stage. All the weather stripping on the car needs to be replaced. We also have new universal joints There's another one in one of these bags here somewhere, so we'll eventually work on replacing both universal joints on the drive shaft. Again, as far as I know, those are original, so probably not a bad idea to replace those. In this box here that you see, that's a new exhaust manifold. So we're going to actually replace the entire exhaust system. Pardon me while I stand up. You can see over there, there's a pile of gaskets. One of those is the exhaust gasket. That white box over here, you can kind of see the pipe that comes out of that. That's a new muffler with exhaust tip on it. And then, pardon me as I move, hopefully you're not getting too dizzy, but there is, back over here stuck in the corner, is the rest of the exhaust system. So we're going to put a whole new exhaust system on the car because it's pretty shot. And then that big loopy steel tubing you see is a new fuel line that runs from the gas tank, which, if you remember, we replaced. That's one of the first things we did after, as we were getting it running. But that actually is going to run all the way from the gas tank all the way up to the fuel pump. So we're going to replace that as well. Figure might as well make sure we're getting good clean gas if we took the time to do all that. So what other goodies do we have in here? So pardon me, sit down. We've got gaskets. So you saw that's the exhaust gasket. So this is for the valve cover. I'm going to pull the valve cover off and put a new gasket on there. Also going to paint that one. See, this is the oil pan. So when I replace the oil pump, I've got a new gasket to put on the oil, for the oil pan. I'm also going to paint and clean up the oil pan as well. And this gasket is for the rear axle, the bell housing on the rear axle. Oh shoot, I can't think of the name of that thing back there. Anyway, so but this fits back there and should so I can replace the gear oil and stuff in that as well, because that does need to be done too. So a bunch of new gaskets to put on. In this bag, goodies, we got a couple of things. I don't want to open this up because there's a lot of little stuff in here. So one, we've got the choke tube to go to the carburetor, so we can get the choke working again after we rebuilt it. Studs for the exhaust, and the exhaust manifold, studs, universal joints. There's the other universal joint, U-bolts there. So, little ring for the transmission dipstick. We still got a leak on the transmission, and I'm hoping that fixes it up and I don't have to do anything major with that. So a bunch of little parts in there. So, there's clamps for the exhaust right there. So the clamps for it, and a donut to go from the exhaust manifold out to the exhaust pipe to seal that up in there. So got a lot of good parts to go in the car. In addition to parts, got some new tools. So one of the things I got is a new, there we go, air saw. Well, let's turn it the right way. Air saw to help. We're going to have to cut out that floorboard on the driver's side still and make that happen. And then we can go back here. And I've cleaned out this back area to make a work space for cleaning parts and painting things and general tinkering. This used to have all my reenacting gear, so I used to be a historical reenactor from World War II up through or back to the American Revolution. You can see, pardon me, some of that gear is still in here. Still see some of it hanging up over here. And then you can still see some of it over there. So, but I got a bunch of that stuff I'm gonna probably have to get rid of. But anyway, so all of that's gonna go on this baby right here. Well, not much has changed since we last saw her. But we're going to spend a lot of time getting her, you know, my goal this year, 2020, is to get her back mechanically sound to drive on the roads. I mean, not that she's not, I mean, she stops, she goes, all of that. She's, you know, she's safe. She's just not what I would call reliable right now. I still have a hard time getting her cranked sometimes. Still need to work on getting the front end properly aligned, because had it done at National Tire and Battery, and it worked okay for a while, but now it's slipped back out of alignment. So I got to find somebody that knows how to really align these older cars well, but we'll get to that. So anyway, just wanted to show y'all where we were, and then what we have coming on the car. So we got a lot of good stuff happening, and sorry for the interruption, folks, but wanted to show you a couple of things. So here's some photos I just found of the car back in 1987. So it was 10 years after we had sold it to our neighbors across the street, who had then moved to New York. And in 87, my dad and I flew up to New York and drove the car back. So it came back into the family. So you can see a couple of these pictures here. We've got one here with myself, my sister, my dad, the original owner, and my grandfather. Thought that was pretty cool. Then we've got one here of me rocking the good 1980s mullet. So yes, I had that. Hey, my girlfriend liked it, so I was all game. And then very interesting and very exciting, we found the original bill of sale. My dad actually found this when he was going through a bunch of documents and papers that my mom had squirreled away. And so he found this original bill of sale, so we can see what the Mustang cost brand new in 1967. So thought that was pretty cool. He actually purchased it in Buford, Georgia, not too far from where I live now, and where he was actually the city engineer, or the engineer of record for many years there at the city of Buford. So I thought that was kind of cool. So with that, I'll return you to your regularly scheduled video. Hope you're as excited as I am to get started on this. So with that, y'all have a great one, and I'll see y'all in the next video.